Good to be with you on this Tuesday. Trust that you had a good holiday weekend. And now as we head into the fall, let's believe God for great things. One of the things that holds us back from really seeing God work is to get tangled up in personal problems. We find in Ephesians chapter 4 that bitterness and all the reactions that come from it grieve the Holy Spirit of God, holds back God's power. And so often, because of interpersonal problems, we get into the flesh rather than the spirit. And what's so sad is sometimes those problems can go public. In 1 Corinthians chapter 6, we have a corrective passage here by the Holy Spirit through the Apostle Paul where he says, "Dare any of you, having a matter against another, go to law before the unjust and not before the saints? Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world? And if the world shall be judged by you, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters?" And he goes on to say, this matter that has come before the public court should have been handled through the Spirit of God's working between believers within the church. You know, it is really a sad thing when God's people take their problems and let them be known to the lost world. That happens in families where there'll be conflict, and saved people will have conflict, and the lost around them say they're no different than anyone else. Same thing can happen on the job, and of course within a church, especially when there are financial matters that are there. Sometimes believers will even go to law, which is, of course, unbiblical here. But I bring this up not to exposit 1 Corinthians 6, but just to say that even if the lost world doesn't know about the specific problem, they will know that the people involved don't have any power. That without the Spirit of God, we have nothing to offer. We have no encouragement ourselves. We are not able to navigate properly all the negative issues that are swirling around us. And so it's important that we realize that the genuineness of our walk with the Lord is that which will be known by other believers and will be known by the world. That's why we cannot allow there to be any problems between us and anyone else. Husbands and wives need to understand their tension affects the whole church. Pressures within the family or between believers. These kinds of things must be handled quickly and spiritually by the power of God, because the lost world around us is at stake. And speaking of a word of encouragement, we need to be the word of encouragement. When we are right with God and our testimony is right, the world is encouraged, and of course we're encouraged because of our testimony. And so I wanted to just challenge all of us. Do not let any personal problems between you and someone else go for any time. Get that matter settled, because the glory of God in His work is at stake.